What's up, everybody? It's your girl D here with a reading for you. Well, this is not going to be a reading, but this is just basically a discussion of what's going on with the partial lunar eclipse in Taurus. This is a time of evolution or destruction. And I say that because, when we're dealing with the full moon in Taurus, we're dealing with the lunar eclipse. What are eclipses? Eclipses. The definition of eclipse is to hide something. It's to evade something. It's to put something out of sight. To avoid something sometimes. All right? So when we're talking about eclipse energy, what we're trying to do is we're dealing with the moon. First of all, the moon is all about your feelings and your emotions, right? So when the moon is dealing about with your feelings and your emotions, eclipses are basically about letting go of hidden emotions that you've had within you about a particular situation. So, give me 1 second. I was just pulling up my notes. So I took some notes. So I'm going to go through all signs in this one video. I don't know if I'm going to have time to go back and timestamp it, but if anybody wants to, feel free to do so. But we're talking about eclipses. And like I said, eclipses basically are blocking something, covering something up. When we see a moon being eclipsed, it's being eclipsed by another object, either, a body, planetary body. So it's blocking out the light, eclipsing the light. So when we're talking about full moons, we're dealing with your emotions, and we're talking about emotions that you've eclipsed, emotions that you've blocked, emotions that you've covered up, emotions that you've hidden, emotions that you've concealed. So with this full moon in Taurus, what this is doing is it's allowing you to say, hey, you know what, these feelings that I've been eclipsing, these feelings that I've been hiding, that I've been covering, that have been blocking me, I can either let them go so that I can evolve, or I can hold on to them so that they can continue to destroy my life. Because we are dealing with the moon squaring Jupiter, which is you looking at the glass half full, like, okay, I can have what I want. There's an opportunity for good luck, good fortune in this area of my life. But then we also have the moon trining Pluto, which means that if you don't let go of the hidden emotions that you have with this full moon energy, when we're dealing with Pluto, we're dealing with death and rebirth. So death and rebirth, or power struggles in all sorts of ways, right? So for some, if you don't let go of these hidden emotions and hidden feelings, it could lead to death. We are in Scorpio season. Okay. For others, it could just lead to death of an old way of living, an old way of looking at things, old mentalities. And it could be the rebirth of something new, because, Pluto deals with death and rebirth. For some people, they could be actually dealing with a birth. For some people, it could be dealing with physical death, whether it's them or someone around them. So we're going to go through each sign, and we're going to talk about where these energies are in your chart, so that you have an idea of how these energies are going to be affecting you. And with eclipses, the energy doesn't just last for 2 weeks. These eclipse energies can last up to 6 months. Okay, so it's really important to understand what areas of your chart this could be affecting you in. So I divided things up. I was going to do the fixed signs first, then the cardinal signs, and then the mutable signs. So it's not going to go in traditional order. All right, so I'm going to start with the fixed signs first, because fixed energy is the most difficult to change and the most difficult to transform. So we're dealing with Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, right? These are the fixed energies. These energies are energies of, once you're locked in, it's very difficult for you to change. And once people are attached to you, it's very difficult for them to let go of you as well. So it goes both ways. So let's start with Taurus. So Taurus, the full moon is in your first house. Now you are already going through changes because Uranus is in your first house. Taurus, you're going to be feeling this very strongly, because not only is the full moon in your first house setting us up for energies for the next 6 months, you have Uranus there in retrograde, and Uranus is going to go direct January 18th. But what else is going to go on January 18th is we're going to be switching nodes. We are currently with the North Node in Gemini, the South Node in Sagittarius. But we are setting up this transition with these eclipses, eclipsing out this energy so that we can start transforming and going into the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. That happens on uh, January 18th, the same day that Uranus in your first house goes direct. And it's really interesting because what's going on right now is we're in, as of today, the 18th, we're in the 29th degree of Gemini, right? With the nodals. The nodes, they switch degrees every 2 months. So, the nodes will stay in a sign for 18 months. So we're in the 29th degree of Gemini. So, 29 degrees of any sign represents transformation, change, because we're coming out of one sign going into another. So, what's going on is we're in the 29th degree of Gemini. So we are in transition of the nodal change from North Node Gemini to North Node Taurus. So for the next 2 months, we're going to feel these energies heavy. But again, keep in mind, it's a partial lunar eclipse. So where these energies may last a little bit longer. They can last up until 6 months, right? So we're kicking it off with Taurus. So Taurus, you have the full moon in your first house. So with the full moon in your first house, the full moon is talking about, okay, what energies, what emotions have I eclipsed? So where you're feeling good at, where Jupiter is at, we're looking at the moon square Jupiter. Okay, this makes you enthusiastic in this area. So Jupiter's in your 10th house. So we're talking about your career, your reputation, your morals, your life goals. You could be feeling optimistic there, right? But what could be opposing it is some hidden emotions and feelings that you've eclipsed that you need to let go that relate to your first house. And if you let go of these energies, there's going to be a beautiful evolution. If you don't, there's going to be possible destruction. And you will see that evolution or destruction in your ninth house. All right. Your ninth house deals with wisdom, philosophy, your spiritual religious views, the way you look at things, based on the things that you've experienced, wisdom, also higher learning, foreign travel. So an example, some of you may be like, okay, whatever. So let me give you a real life example of how this energy could play out for you, Taurus. So for example, you could be in a position where, you feel like you're doing really good at your job, right? You're doing really well in your career. But what's opposing that could be, well, maybe you think you're doing well, but your boss could be coming to you saying, no, you're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. And you're looking at it like you have hidden feelings about it. It's like, yo, I'm tired of this boss coming to me, telling me I'm not doing right, this and that and that and this. Now, you could take these feelings and you can put them to the side so that you can evolve, and it will show up it will show up positively in your ninth house, as in, okay, I've learned that, you know what, I need to put these feelings aside so that I could do better. Right? Or it could show up as a destructive energy where you hold on to these energies and you take it personal about your boss when your boss could just be trying to help you to elevate. Right? And so you take it personal, and what may happen is, because your philosophy and your views on things, you're taking it personal, you may end up losing your job. Remember, Pluto is being affected here. Pluto's all about death and rebirth. So you do have to be careful. Now, another situation that could occur for you, Taurus, is, the way you look at things, your morals and your values. They could be in direct conflict with how, what you're seeing. You're not seeing that you're doing something morally wrong. You may think that this is the way I'm going to do things. These are my morals. This is how I feel about it. But it could be in direct conflict with your self-awareness, your self-esteem, how you see yourself, how others see you. And what could happen is, it could show up destructively, okay? Or it could put you in a situation where you could transform positively. If it shows up in a destructive manner with Pluto energy, it could put you in a situation where you could go to jail. Say you decide, okay, I know morally robbing this bank is wrong. But at the same time, I want something for me. I want money. So you go and you rob this bank. What could happen is you could go to jail, that's destruction. Or it could be, you realizing, what, that's not the wise thing to do by using your ninth house energy. That's not wise. Let me not do that. And so you transform your views and you decide not to go through with that. So your morals and values are putting you in a position where you're not going to, put yourself in a situation where you're doing destructive behavior. All right, those are just basic examples for Taurus. All right, so now we're going to move on. And it could be that it's difficult for you to do because maybe this is the way you've been. Maybe this is the way you've seen yourself, and this is the way you've done things for a long time. And so there's going to be a major transformation for you, like I said, because with fixed signs, it takes you some time to come out of the ways that you were in. But if you do this, it's going to evolve for you where you've learned from your past and you're going to be able to do well. If you don't, it could cause your destruction and or death, all right, in all sorts of ways. Let's move on to the next fixed sign, which is Leo. Leo, you could be feeling optimistic in reference to your relationships and your partnerships, but what could be opposing that could be the moon energy in your 10th house. Now, again, the moon has to do with some feelings that you have hidden, that you've eclipsed or pushed to the side, that have to do with your self-worth in reference to your reputation or your career. Now, you could evolve or you could, self-destruct. Now, wherever you're going to see this evolution or this self-destruction is going to be in your 6th house, okay, which deals with your health, the daily routines, your known enemies, your discipline. So, for example, Leo, for you, an example of this would be your partnership with your business partner. It could be it could pose a threat to what you feel is right. Okay. So you could be, say you're doing something, because we're dealing with Pluto. So Pluto's dealing with money. The evolutionary part of it, where you're going to see it manifest, is where Pluto is. Pluto deals with money. It deals with sex. It deals with death. It deals with power struggles. So we're going to be dealing with issues like this, okay? So for Leo, it could be a situation here where, the relationships that you have or that you've established with people will make you question your reputation. So you could be dealing with someone saying, hey, okay, I got a BJ's card. Someone could come to you and say, hey, you got a BJ's card. Can you take me to BJ's? I'll give you a couple dollars for gas. I'll give you $50 towards your groceries or whatever. And Leo, you could say, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And so the person says, okay, Leo, here, let me give you the money now. You can come get me Saturday. Saturday's 2 days from now. You can come get me Saturday. So what you could do is you could evolve this friendship, right? Or you could destroy it based on your 6th house energies, because 6th house energies is known enemies. So you could destroy this relationship by not showing up to pick this person up on Saturday. So now this person is a known enemy because you owe them money. You purposely did them dirty. Or you could, evolve the connection with this person by exercising self-discipline and saying, you know what, I'm not going to take this person's money. I'm not going to do that even though I'm tempted. I'm just going to go ahead and go get them from the store because they trusted me to, give them this, to take this money ahead of time. So that's just a basic, simple. I don't want to get too deep into things because I got all the signs to go through, but that's just a basic general example. It's a matter of you looking at your hidden emotions and feelings in reference to how people see you. Do you want these people to see you as somebody who's not morally inept? If you don't, then you have the opportunity to evolve the relationship so that people see you as somebody that they can trust. Or you have the power to evolve a relationship or destroy a relationship so that these people may look at you as if you are an enemy to them. Okay? It's all about what you're doing behind the scenes, your hidden emotions and feelings. And these hidden emotions and feelings have to do with how you see yourself, your morals, and your values. All right? So for Scorpio, let's move on. Scorpio, Jupiter's in your 4th house. So that's your private life, your family, how your family sees you, your home life, your personal feelings. The moon with Taurus is in your 7th house, your relationships and partnerships. And the evolution or destruction is going to occur in your 3rd house, which is your ideas, your lifestyle, maybe how you get around, your relationships with your in-laws and your siblings. So an example of this would be you could be feeling optimistic about the fact that, okay, so maybe there's a situation going on where you don't get along with a lot of family members, okay? And so every year around this time, the holidays come about and they don't invite you over. Normally that might bother you. You may not say nothing, you may keep it hidden, and it may bother you, right? But what you can do is you can either evolve or you can let this destroy you. If you evolve, what you will do is you will let those feelings go. You will not harbor those feelings of self-worth and self-esteem as if there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that these people you don't get along with and they just happen to be family. And it's unfortunate, but you should not hold any feelings of the fact that, okay, this is making me feel bad. There's something I did wrong. And if you drop those feelings, what will happen is you'll how can I say this? In your third house, what'll happen is with your ideas and your lifestyle, you won't allow it to bother you anymore. It's like, okay, the holidays are coming. Yeah, I normally don't spend it with my family, and I'm okay with that. In opposed to you letting it destroy you. You drink because you can't be with your family members because they don't like you, they don't like the lifestyle you live, or they don't agree with you, or you guys argue, you don't get along. So you have the power to say, you know what, I'm going to let those feelings go. I'm not going to let it bother me, or you can, get to a point where maybe you sit down and you talk to them about it and you say, hey, what's up with this? It bothers me that you don't invite me to the family functions. Why don't you invite me? And then maybe it'll evolve and things will be positive, and now you're going to the family functions. And opposed to you harboring your feelings about it, you feel a certain way, but you're not saying anything. And then what you do is you'll drink, or you'll, do types of forms of escapism because you're depressed. All right. So something along the be an exact example, but it's just a scenario of how these energies could affect you. So again, it's all about letting go of hidden resentment, hidden feelings, hidden emotions that are keeping you from evolving. Okay. Now for Aquarius, the last fixed sign, Aquarius, you got Jupiter in your first house, which is the house of your self-image. What you feel is doing what you feel is best for you. The full moon in Taurus, as far as the energies of letting go of feelings that may give you low self-esteem, have to do with your fourth house. So this is like your personal emotions. And then, where you can either evolve or let it destroy you will show up in your subconscious. So this is interesting for you, Aquarius, because we're dealing with your personal feelings and your family life. So there could be a situation where you're like, you know what? I got family members that don't get along with each other. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So those two family members, you could be the middle person because you talk to both of them, but they don't talk to each other. So you're talking to one family member on the phone and you're saying, hey, such and such asked about you. And that other person could be like, okay, well, why didn't you tell such and such to call me directly? But then Aquarius, you'll be like, well, I'm not getting in it. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, if you're not getting in it, why are you even bringing it up? It's like, do you want to help solve the problem or do you not? So in order for you to have it be destructive, you could just be like, you know what, I'll just deliver messages back and forth, or I won't deliver messages because I don't care if they don't talk or not. Or you could use it as a way to evolve the situation and evolve the relationship by saying, okay, let's sit down. I don't like that you two are not talking. Let us sit down and let's figure out what's going on so that you two don't have to go through me, passing messages through me, but you're not talking to each other. So it could manifest in that sort of way in the life of Aquarius. That's just, again, that's just an example. But the whole purpose is that, you're letting go of emotions that have to do with your private life. You're letting go of hidden resentment and feelings that have to do with your family life. You're letting go of hidden resentment and feelings that have to do with your personal emotions. And it's going to manifest in your 12th house where, these people are isolating from each other, and you're the bridge between them. You would be the one to bring them together instead of isolation. Or you would be the one who, you may think that you're not contributing to the isolation, but you are. So unconsciously, you're being an enemy to either one of them, right? So that's just a general example. Now we're going to go to the cardinal signs. So let's talk about Aries. Aries, you got Jupiter in your 11th house, which talks about your social life. It talks about your concern for all. It also talks about the organizations you're involved in, long-term goals, and your maturity. The full moon in Taurus for you is going to be in your second house. Taurus deals with the second house of self-worth, self-value, trust issues, and the money you make. And where you're going to see this manifested, whether it's going to be evolution or destruction, is going to be in your 10th house. Now, your 10th house has to do with your career aspirations, your reputation, about how you see yourself or how other people see you. It also deals with your morals, your life goals, government, things like that. So an example of how this may show up in your life. You could have friends, right? And so your friends, your social life may pose a threat to your self-esteem, your self-value, your work. So you may have friends around you who are constantly knocking you for the way that you dress, or they call themselves your friends, or people don't want to socialize with you because you're somebody who you don't bite your tongue. You're not being rude or anything, but you're one of those types of people who will speak up. You could use that energy to evolve um, in your 10th house, or you could use that energy to be destructive, and it's going to show up in your 10th house. So if you evolve, what you do is, you will start associating with people who respect you for who you are. All right, so you'll be able to say, you know what, with Pluto energy in my 10th house, I'm going to let go of relationships of people who can't accept me for who I am. And that way you'll evolve, and you'll start connecting with like-minded people instead of dealing with people who, they're constantly judging you. If you use this as destructive energy and you don't let go of the feelings behind this, it could be a situation where you're compromising your ethics and your morals just to be involved in some type of organization, or just to be involved in some type of scenario or situation. I like to use Kyrie Irving's situation because he's an Aries. So in this situation where this could be working with him, for those of you who don't know, he plays for the Brooklyn Nets, or he used to. I don't know if they still have him on the team or not, but he didn't go and get he didn't go to the doctor. And in New York, for you to play on a professional basketball team, you have to go to the doctor, right? You know what I'm talking about when you got to go to the doctor. Well, he decided he wasn't going to go to the doctor, so he was benched, right? So they weren't going to let him play. So what's going on is that, with these energies here, he could be feeling some sort of way in reference to the fact that they don't want to let him play because he's doing what's best for him. Now, what he could do is he could say goodbye to the organization and do something else with his career. Or, what could happen is he could let them destroy his self-esteem and self-value, and he could succumb based on him not wanting to go to the doctor, and he could go to the doctor. So that's just an example of what the cardinal energy of Aries could be dealing with. Just an example. Not everybody's dealing with that, but basically what you're dealing with is letting go of the hidden resentment in reference to you standing your ground about your self-esteem and your self-respect and how you make your money. All right. So we got Cancer. Cancer, Jupiter's in your 8th house, right? The full moon in Taurus is in your 11th house. And where these energies could be destructive or you could evolve is going to show up in your relationships. So let me give you an example, Cancer, of how this could work out. You could be in a situation where you're pregnant, okay? Either you're pregnant as a Cancer woman, or, Cancer man, your partner's pregnant. So that pregnancy could be going against your long-term goals. It's like, damn, I don't want to have a child. This was unexpected. I really don't want to have a child because I had goals for myself. I had long-term plans for myself, and those plans did not involve having a child. So what could happen is this could either manifest positively or negatively in reference to your relationship with this person. So maybe your person, one of you may want to have the baby and the other one may not want to have the baby. So what could happen is the determination of keeping this child could put you in a position where this person decides either they don't want to have the child. So, we're dealing with Pluto, death. Maybe this person decides to have an abortion, or this person decides, okay, you know what? I didn't plan on having a child, but let's go ahead. Let's evolve together and let's go ahead and get in a relationship and raise our child. So that it could show up that way for you, Cancer. What could also be going on is that you could have a business partner. Here's another example. You could have a business partner. You guys are making money. What could go against that is your social life, the organizations that you're doing business with. Now, this could serve as a place where it can evolve for you positively, or it could cause destruction in your relationship. Maybe you and a partner are doing business and a third person wants to come in and do business with you all. And this third person may not be up to par, up to speed, okay? And one partner may agree with letting this person come in and the other person doesn't agree. So what could happen is with Pluto in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships, you could either evolve and say, okay, yeah, we're going to add this person on to evolve the relationship, or you and the person who are fighting, deciding on if you want to let this third party in or not, could dissolve your business and go separate ways because you two can't agree on how to move forward business-wise. All right. So there's certain ways that these are certain ways that this could affect Cancer. Just two general examples, but the whole premise of it is there's some hidden feelings and emotions that you need to let go of around your social life, the organizations that you do business with, your long-term goals, and, looking at things from a mature perspective. Now we're going to move on to the next cardinal sign, which is Libra. Libra, you got Jupiter in your fifth house. Jupiter deals with children. I'm sorry, your fifth house deals with children. It deals with, concern for self, fast money, quick money. Also deals with immaturity and fetishes, love affairs, temporary love situations that don't last, right? Flings, situationships, that type of stuff. That's fifth house. Your moon, as far as the full moon or the partial eclipse, is in your eighth house, okay? The eighth house deals with, hidden emotions, power struggles, taxes, sex, death, rebirth in all forms of way, actual birth, okay? And then you're going to see where you'll be able to evolve, or where if you cause destruction, it's going to be in your fourth house, which is your private life, your family life, or reference to your personal feelings. So let me give you an example, Libra, of how this energy could be affecting you. This is just an example, doesn't have to be true. You could be using this Jupiter energy in your fifth house like, okay, I want to have a kid. I want to get pregnant. But that could be opposing the hidden feelings of your partner. Your partner may not want a kid, okay? And so what could happen is your relationship could dissolve because the fact that, you know how you meet people and, you get in relationships. One of the major things people should talk about, in my opinion, is, okay, if we're going to have a long-term connection with one another, do you want to have kids or not? Because kids can make or break a relationship. Wanting kids or not wanting kids will make or break a relationship, especially if you don't talk about it and then somebody gets pregnant. That could cause a problem. So I feel like in this situation, Libra, that could be the case. All right. It's similar to what Cancer is dealing with, because you're dealing with similar energies. So, maybe you, Libra, have a child, right? You already have a child, and you and your partner are not together. Maybe you want to be with this partner, and this partner doesn't want to be with you. So what could be going on is you could have hidden resentment or hidden feelings towards this partner, and you could be using the child to try to control this person, to try to get this person to be in a relationship with you, to try to get this person to move in with you. It's like, okay, I'm not going to let you talk to your child. So now what will happen is this person is really wanting to talk to their child. So you could be using that as a ploy to get this person to move in with you, because this person wants to see their kid. And it's like, oh, okay, well, if you want to see your kid, then you need to come be with us. But this person may not want to be in a relationship with you. Now, Libra, this could be you doing this to someone or someone doing this to you. Another example of this could be you may have come into some money, right? Some quick money, because we got Jupiter in the fifth house, right? So that means you could have had some good luck. You might have hit the lotto, or you might have went to the casino and got some money, right? And so what may be happening is you may be asking your partner or somebody else for money and not telling them that you hit the lotto or that you went to the casino and you won a lot of money. And so where that's going to manifest is in your private life, your personal feelings. Either you're going to not tell this person, but they're going to find out. And so either that could destroy the relationship that you have with this person, or, you tell them what's going on, and this would establish, trust, and this person would look at you as somebody that they want to connect with and that they could trust and respect. So that's kind of just a general example. Like I said, these are not things that could actually happen, but what could go on is the focus is that you want to look at the eighth house. The eighth house has to do with hidden feelings, hidden emotions, sex, tax, death, money you make with other people. Okay, so maybe you trying to make some quick money and the other person don't know about it, and you're not going to tell your partner you made this quick money. And so as a result, you keeping it to yourself, right? And so this person is like, oh, did we make any money? And you're like, no, we lost some. But in reality, you doubled that money and you just kept it to yourself, right? So that's a situation there that could come up, and this person's going to find out about it. So what could happen is this person may not trust you, right, if they find out about it. All right, so that's just a general example again. So when we're talking about Capricorn, the next cardinal sign, Capricorn, you got Jupiter in your second house that deals with your self-esteem. It deals with your self-worth. It deals with trust issues and what you value. Your full moon in Taurus is going to show up in your sixth house. Your sixth house deals with your work habits, your routines, your health, discipline, known enemies, and your pets. And where you could either evolve or be destructive to yourself is going to be in your first house, to yourself. So Capricorn, how this could manifest for you is you feeling good about yourself, right? You're feeling good about your self-esteem, your self-worth, and things like that. But that's opposing how you treat yourself. You feeling good about yourself, but you're not working out, right? So what you could do to evolve so that this is positive is you start working out so that you start looking as good as you feel, right? Or it could be a destructive sense where instead of you, your habits, you're eating bad and you're not working out. So bad eating, bad habits, over time, it'll transform your body. And unfortunately, some people die of eating bad food because they have high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, things like that. You don't want this to be destructive. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you're not, and it doesn't have to be food. It could be drugs. You just have to be careful what you do, and you have to do things in moderation. So yeah, you like to eat fast food, but you don't have to eat that every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? And you also need to work out and take care of your body and take care of your health. Capricorn, you are the type of energy you will live long, most of you, if you take care of your health. So you got to be careful with what you're doing here. You got to be careful. Some of you are feeling really good about yourself and you're feeling good about things and you're spending money, and the money that you're spending, you could be spending it on bad habits. And so these bad habits will bite you back. So you just have to be careful. So, you're elevating, some of you are making more money now. So more money, more problems. That's what Capricorn has to deal with. That's what the devil energy is. More money, more power. And, the more money you make and the better off you're dealing, the more susceptible you are to negative energies because you may feel like invincible and destructive. But in reality, it could destroy you. So you just got to be careful and cognizant of what you're doing and how you're doing it. So those are examples of how this energy could affect Capricorn. All right. All right, I got 4 more signs left, right? So we're going to talk about the mutable signs. Now, the mutable signs, you guys are the least likely to have problems changing because you are mutable. Mutable means that you go with the flow. All right. So you will not have as much problem transforming as a fixed sign would. Cardinal signs, they initiate change anyway. So they're the ones who are going to initiate the change. Like Capricorn's going to initiate the change. They realize they're drinking too much. They're going to stop drinking. Libra realizes, okay, if I want to win this money, I got to go to, if I want to win some quick money, I got to go play the number, or I got to go to the casino. Cancer is like, okay, if I have these feelings about the situation, I have to do something about it. Aries is the same way. So cardinal signs, they're going to initiate change anyway, because we know the cardinal signs represent when the seasons change. So that's why they're cardinal. They initiate change. Now, mutable, you're going to be okay as well because you just go with the flow. So with mutable, we're dealing with Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. So let's talk about Gemini, right? Gemini is the first of the mutable signs. Gemini, you got Jupiter in your 9th house, okay? Because Jupiter is squaring the moon. And then you have the moon in your 12th house. Now, the moon is trining Pluto, and Pluto's in your 8th house. So the 9th house deals with your spiritual and religious beliefs, okay? Your philosophy on life, what you've learned based on the things you've experienced. All right? It also deals with higher education and foreign travel. Where the moon is at is in your 12th house. Now, this deals with things that you don't know that could hinder you, your unconscious behaviors. Also, the unconscious behaviors that you exhibit that could cause enemies that you don't know about, Like you may be somebody who, like an example of this could be the way you eat. Like you may smack it when you eat. And so these people may be like, yo, we don't want to eat with this person because they always smacking when they eat. They don't close their mouth. So little things like that, right? So subconscious behavior that you do that causes, people to be like, ugh. Now, you could use these energies to evolve, or use these energies, if you don't let go of these hidden emotions and feelings, it could be destructive to you. And it will manifest in your 8th house. Now, Pluto is in your 8th house. You don't play with Pluto in the 8th house. Pluto belongs to the 8th house. What does the 8th house deal with? Death, rebirth, taxes, criminal activity, okay? Hidden feelings, hidden emotions, power struggles. So this is an example here because we got Jupiter in the 9th. Now, sometimes when Jupiter's in the ninth, the way this could come out as far as your behavior is Jupiter deals with the law too. And Jupiter deals with people who think they could. Jupiter in the ninth house, sometimes you get people who do things illegally, or people who think they can get away with things illegally. So with the 12th house and the 8th house here involved, you could be somebody who's like, yo, on a criminal tip, because again, we're dealing with Pluto. Pluto deals with criminology. We're dealing with the 8th house. It deals with criminal activity, all right? So we're just going to keep it real. Pluto deals with money. So in this situation, Gemini, you got to be careful because you may think, Geminis are very smart. They come up with great ideas. And if you come up with an idea where you're trying to break the law because you think you can get away with it, you may be in a position where subconsciously you don't know that somebody's watching you. And as a result, you could get caught. Here's the scenario, okay, with these energies, the 9th house, the 12th house, and the 8th house. You could be in a situation where you know somebody who works at a bank, right? And you're like, okay, my friend got the code. It's you and this person. They working together. You and this person got the code to the bank. They work in the bank, so they know the ins and out of the bank. And then what's going to happen is they're going to allow you access so that you can get in and rob the bank and get away with it. But what could be going on is this person knows that you are somebody who is a habitual lawbreaker. They know that you've been to jail before. They know that you could have possibly murdered someone before, or you got implicated in some type of murder before. Okay? Either way, they don't trust you. There's no honor among thieves, right? So this person is like, okay, yeah, I'm working with Gemini, but I got my partner in it. And Gemini don't know about my partner, but I got my partner in it because what's going to happen is Gemini going to get this money. I'm going to let Gemini know what's going on with the bank so Gemini can get in. Gemini's going to get this money, and then me and my partner, we're going to get the money from Gemini, and we're going to off Gemini. Or what could happen is Gemini could get this money with this person who works in the bank, and then what Gemini may say is, yo, I don't want no witnesses, so after I get this money, I'm going to off this person who works at the bank so that there's no witnesses. Now, what may happen is if Gemini tries to do this, the universe may clip Gemini out of the equation before Gemini can get to this person. Or what will happen is Gemini may get to this person, and then Gemini is going to end up going to jail. Or Gemini may end up getting killed trying to kill this person. I know that's a morbid situation, but we are this is a prime example of these energies in this house, in these houses. Another situation could be something on a more lighter note. Is Gemini, you may decide that you may want to go to school. Or you may feel like, I don't got to go to school. I can do this job. I don't need to take a class in it. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to take a class. And it's like your mentality, your ideology about this is going against the fact that you don't know that there are things you need to know that you can only learn by taking a class. And so you could cause evolution in a positive way by saying, okay, let me go ahead and, sign up and take this class versus you handling things in a destructive way, you not taking this class, and then something happens and it puts you in a position where you end up paying restitution in some way, shape, or form, or you could even get yourself hurt. It could be you operating a piece of machinery, that could be dangerous on the job. And you're like, oh, I can handle it. I don't got to read the instructions. I can figure it out. It's common sense. And you don't take the time to learn. And maybe there's a notch or a nozzle that you need to pull in the event of the machine acting a certain way and you don't know it. And then the machine goes off. And instead of you using evolution and learning what you're supposed to learn about the instructions of the machine, you don't. And as a result, somebody gets injured or they get hurt. So it's like you have to be careful because with this 12th house energy, Taurus being in your 12th house, it's about, hiding the fact that you don't know everything. And so that could put you in a situation where you're isolating yourself from information, from knowledge that could, be a blessing to you or it could be a curse to you, depending on how you look at this information, whether you go for it or you don't. All right. So that's just examples with Gemini. I know that was kind of, wild with Gemini, but, Jupiter in the 9th house, there's a lot of people who think they're above the law and they got Jupiter in the 9th house. All right. And we're dealing with Pluto in the 8th house. So we're dealing with death and criminology. So you have to be real. Let's go to Virgo. Virgo, you got Jupiter in your 6th house, right? That deals with your routines, your health, your pets, your discipline, your known enemies. Your full moon and partial lunar eclipses in your ninth house. Your ninth house deals with your wisdom, things you've experienced and learned. It deals with your philosophy on life, how you see life. It deals with your spiritual and your religious views. Also, the ninth house deals with, it deals with higher learning, and it also deals with foreign travel. Now, where this is going to be manifested as far as you're going to see evolution or destruction is going to be in your fifth house. Now, your fifth house deals with children. It deals with your level of immaturity, that inner child. It deals with quick money, casinos, gambling, lottery, and it deals with concern for self. Also deals with love affairs, situationships, one night stands, excuse me, fetishes, things like that. So let me give you an example for Virgo. Virgo, the routines and the daily patterns that you have are going against what you know is right. So for example, say Virgo, you say you work at a strip club, right? Now we're dealing with Plutonian energies in the fifth house, okay? So this is not far-fetched. So say you work at a strip club and it's like it goes against your morals and values. It's like, yo, I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it because it brings fifth house results, quick money, right? Or say you're a hustler. You hustle and make money illegally. You're doing it, you know it's not right, but you're doing it because you're trying to get this quick money. Now, you realize you have hidden feelings about it because those hidden feelings are telling you that you know this is wrong. So you can either evolve from this and say, you know what, let me step away from this. I got children I got to look out for. I can't be living this dangerous, destructive life. I got children I got to take care of. So you can evolve and let that lifestyle go and change your patterns and your daily activities, or you can destruct, take the route of destruction. And despite your feelings telling you and your intuition telling you to get out of this seedy environment, you stay there anyway. And look, we got Pluto in the fifth house. What could happen is, with Pluto, we're dealing with death and rebirth. All right. So there could be power struggles. Okay. You could be dealing with all sorts of unfortunate situations. It could be a situation where you're running around here and you're sleeping with people without protection. Right. And you should be wearing protection, but it's like, oh, I'm just going to sleep with them one time with that fifth house energy. It's not a long-term relationship. It's just a one-time fling. And then with Pluto deals with disease. Okay. And we're talking the fifth house with flings, situationships. You could end up getting an STD. Okay. One that you can't cure. Okay. Because we're talking Pluto. Pluto is a death. Nowadays things are curable. But the thing is you would have this for the rest of your life, right? So it's like that's an example of, what could possibly happen. You got to be careful, Virgo, how you move about, okay? If you're doing things that you know and you feel and you know they're not right, your higher mind is telling you to stop doing this, and you keep doing it anyway because of the instant gratification, the instant results, or because of your immaturity, it could destroy you in some way, shape, or form, all right? So just keep that in mind, Virgo. Let's talk about Sag and how this energy could affect Sag. So Sag, Jupiter's in your third house. Your third house deals with your lifestyle, the way you express yourself, your communication. It also deals with your siblings, your in-laws, your stepbrothers, stepsisters. It also deals with, how you move around as far as transportation and travel throughout the neighborhood, throughout your community. The partial lunar eclipse in Taurus is in your seventh house. So this deals with some hidden feelings and hidden emotions you have in reference to some relationships that you were either in the past that you're harboring emotions for, or relationships that you're in now that you have secret harbored emotions for. You can evolve by letting these emotions go, or you can hold on to these emotions and it'll be self-destructive, but the evolution or the destructive is going to show up in your second house. Your second house has to do with your self-value, your self-worth. It has to do with trust issues, and it has to do with, how you make money. So, for example, Sagittarius, the lifestyle that you live could be in direct opposition to the relationship you're in. So, say you are a married person, Sagittarius, and you are out here cheating on your partner. And the hidden feelings and the emotions behind why you cheat may be surprising. Your partner may think that you're cheating on them because they're not doing enough. But you could be cheating on this person because maybe you have some self-esteem issues that you experienced as a child. Because when we're dealing with the second house and we're dealing with self-worth and self-value, these are things that are established when you're at a young age, when you're in toddler stage. Okay? When you cry, at a toddler stage and your parent doesn't come to you and they just let you cry, you're subconsciously being taught that you're not valued, because that's the only way you know how to communicate. You can't completely speak. So when you're uncomfortable or you're sad or you're upset as a toddler, what do? You cry, right? So if your parent is one that just lets you cry until they get ready to come over to you, you learn at a young age that no matter what, when I speak up, nobody does anything. So subconsciously you're like, okay, why do I even speak up? Nobody's going to come, right? So you grow up with that energy. And a lot of people don't realize that, but that's what happens. Now, the opposite happens if you pay attention to your kid. Every time they cry, you jump at them. Then these people grow up with entitlement issues. So your partner, you could be cheating on your partner because of some psychological issues that you had in reference to self-esteem, self-worth. Also, it could be, another situation could be that, you're out here hustling. And your partner is telling you, yo, stop doing that. You don't need to be doing that. We can make money other ways. But this is all you know. This is how you looked at things. You don't want to work. You're like, yo, I'm not working for anybody. I'm not doing that. I'll go out here and hustle and make this quick money. But your partner is like, I don't want you doing this anymore because it doesn't make sense to do this. But you could be in a position where you're like, the reason that you do it is because money makes you feel important. And if you don't have money, you may not feel important. So you're going to have to deal with those hidden feelings and resentment that you have in reference to why you hustle and why it's resolved around money and why you feel as if, okay, if I don't have money, I'm not worth anything. Maybe you were in relationships where you were dealing with men or women who wouldn't date you if you didn't have money. So now you go out here and you make money illegally because it's like, it makes you feel like, okay, I'm worthy. But you are going to evolve out of that situation. You're going to say, you know what? I don't need to be out here, making money just to make somebody else look at me as if I'm important. I'm important regardless. So you will evolve and get rid of that ideology and that mentality and that lifestyle, or you will self-destruct and you will not resolve those feelings, and you'll put yourself in a situation where you will never be able to truly trust anybody because you're going to think that people are always dealing with you for money. All right? So that's how that could affect you. But what's going on is the moon energy, as far as what you need to let go, the feelings that you've eclipsed have to do with something that's happened in your relationships or how you relate to people or how people have related to you. Whether it's something that was from childhood or, your dating status, when you were dating, things like that, okay? Your self-esteem was shaped in some way, shape, or form. You could be a Sagittarius woman who may date men who only deal with her for money or only have money. And you may do that because you were raised to do so. And so as a result, you may deal with men who treat you terribly, who treat you bad, all because they take care of you financially. And so you may get to a point where it's like, okay, why do I stay in this relationship? I have to question my self-esteem and my self-worth because that's where it's going to resonate. That's where that Pluto energy is. That's where you're going to evolve. And so you're going to say, you know what? Either I'm going to evolve and I'm going to come out of this self-destructive relationship, or I'm going to destruct and I'm going to allow this person to continue to treat me like trash. Right? One or the other. So that's just an example of how it could affect Sag. Now we got Pisces. Pisces, you got Jupiter in your 12th house. Okay? The 12th house deals with your unconscious behaviors. People who are enemies to you that you don't even know. It also deals with isolation, jail, alcohol rehabilitation centers, things like that. The full moon, the partial eclipse, is going to be in your 3rd house, which deals with your ideas, your lifestyle. It could deal with your siblings, your stepbrothers, your stepsisters. It could also deal with how you get around, right? How you travel, how you move about. And then the destructive energy or the evolutionary energy is going to manifest in your 11th house, which is the people you socialize with, your long-term goals, your level of maturity, how you mature, and, having concern for others. Here's an example, because we're dealing with Jupiter in the 12th house. The 12th house deals with prisons. Jupiter deals with expansion and growth. Pisces could have been in a situation, and again, we're dealing with Pluto, which deals with death, criminology, and money. So here's examples that are not too far off, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your situation. Because Jupiter's in the 12th house, Pisces, you could be somebody who has drug addictions. Your drug addictions could be so bad that you live a lifestyle that puts you in a position where you can't afford your fixes anymore. So what could happen is the evolution could come in your 11th house, or the destruction could come into your 11th house. Evolution would be, you go to friends for help, okay? Or there's organizations that will help you to get yourself better. The destructive part would be that you don't get help and you steal from people who are trying to help you, people who are friends of yours. And you don't take responsibility for your actions as to why you're in the situation you're in. So it could show up in that way. Another way, if we're not dealing with people who are on drugs, we could be talking about criminology. Jupiter in the 12th house. There are people who could be in prison because there was something that maybe they did, or they're on their way to prison. Could be on trial right now. And what's going on is they have hidden feelings about it because of the fact that whatever the lifestyle they were living or how they were raised put them in a position where they were living criminal lives and criminal activity. And so what you may have to do is you may have to let go of what happened as far as how you were raised, the lifestyle that you live, take responsibility for it so that you can evolve and, be able to give back to the community and say, okay, yeah, I had my part in destroying this community. Now I'm going to give back. Or you may use that energy, if you don't let it go, you could just continue to get out of jail and just continue to destroy other people's lives, destroy humanity as a whole. All right. So it could go either way with Pisces. All right. But these energies we dealing with, they're very destructive. They're very real. All right. Because again, we're dealing with Taurus energy. All right. And with the opposite polarity of Scorpio, we're in Scorpio season and we're dealing with Pluto. The moon is trining Pluto. This is violence. This is sex. This is death. This is hidden agendas. This is power struggles. Okay. So if you take the time to let go of these emotions, you can evolve. And your situation will end up getting better. But there are some things that you're going to have to do. Things will be good for you. That's what a trine is. A trine is positive energy, but you have to do something to activate trine energy. A lot of people think, oh, well, I got a trine in my chart. I got a trine here. I got a trine there. I got good luck and I got gifts. You have to activate trines. You have to activate the energy. So there's something that you're going to have to do. The change is going to come regardless in that area of where Pluto is in your chart. So it's a matter of, are you going to take the opportunity to evolve, or are you going to use that energy to self-destruct? And that's going to depend on you letting go of those hidden feelings that you've held back that the full moon is going to bring forth. All right? So that's what I got for you guys in reference to the full moon, the partial lunar eclipse in Taurus, and how it may be affecting all of us. Again, these partial eclipse energies last longer than the average full moon energies. The full moon energies on average last 2 weeks. But with this partial lunar eclipse, it can last up to 6 months. Again, we're in the 29th degree of Gemini when it comes to the North Node in Gemini collectively and the South Node in Sagittarius. We're in the 29th degree. The 29th degree deals with transformation. And we're in Scorpio season, which is transformation. We're transforming and going out of the 29th degree of Gemini into Taurus, North Node, Scorpio, South Node. So you see how all of these energies are playing into each other as we transform out of this last degree of North Node Gemini going into North Node Taurus. All right. So I hope you guys were able to get something out of this. I hope it made a little sense. I know that I have just touched the surface of what these energies could be, but I just didn't want to make it too long. But I wanted to give just a general example for each sign. Of course, look at what's going on. Look at where these planets are in your chart, and look at the feelings that you have that you need to let go of, because that's the key. Letting go of these feelings, because the evolution is coming regardless. So letting go of the feelings will bring positive evolution. Holding on to those feelings that you have will cause destruction in that area of your life where Pluto is. All right, so I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next reading. Later.